Okay. I myself packed a sandwich for lunch today. Usually my go-to is peanut butter Nutella. Smooth, natural, the natural peanut butter, the one with the brown lid. That's my go-to. Maybe that's just because my mom buys that, but I like it better. Lane?
That's disgusting. That is. I'm going to vomit. I'm going to vomit in my mask.
I kind of agree with Lane that qualifies as more of a breakfast item. I don't even know if I would call that a sandwich.
That's just sugar. Get it out of here. Ain't even nutrition.
But listen, wouldn't you? The more natural the peanut butter, the better it is for you. I don't want Skippy. That's just chemicals.
My issue isn't with the brand of peanut butter. It is with the presence of peanut butter for lunch.
It's with
That's the
what?
point of peanut butter. Just Nutella should not be there. Nutella does not belong on a sandwich.
Think of what?
No, I actually think the Nutella is better than the peanut butter. The peanut butter, I think, just kind of ruins the Nutella.
Interesting.
Oh, wait, did you just say peanut butter ruins Nutella?
Think about like every single candy bar ever. It's all peanut butter and chocolate. Everything has peanut butter and chocolate.
So that's why I just don't.
I just hate peanut butter.
The thing is,
And
I don't pack
Nutella.
my lunch. I don't pack a sandwich usually. Usually I have something else. But if I'm doing like a traditional like deli sandwich, I usually do ham.
Yeah, that's what.
So, okay, wait. For those people, okay, then I want to hear ham or turkey, and then if ham or turkey, what kind of cheese do you put with it?
Okay,
Turkey.
this is real. I eat a turkey sandwich, turkey, mayo, and that's it. I don't like cheese, so it's just turkey and mayo, and then bread, and that's it, and it's the best thing.
That's not.
How? You're also gonna make me throw my mask. Oh my god.
Okay, think about like there's a lot of deli sandwich places that like there's usually a sandwich on the menu that like has just turkey on it and no cheese. I don't think that's weird.
No,
It's not weird. It's just not good.
personally, I hate cheese, so I would just.
Okay, well, Lane and Miller seem to be very negative, so I want to hear what you have to say. And then Tori, I want to hear what you have to say.
I agree. Yes.
BLT doesn't require cheese. I love tomatoes and I love bacon. It's kind of a perfect combination. I also put mayonnaise on it. Otherwise, it's a little too dry. Thoughts, Lynn?
Without that, because they're gonna compliment the bacon. Normally, I don't like bacon on its own, but here's the thing: on the BLT, the lesson they like add the extra soft, light, like moist flavor that just complements bacon entirely, and I love. I don't put mayonnaise in it. I'm just gonna eat it without. I've never tried it with mayonnaise, so I can't really judge.
Yeah, I would recommend mayonnaise, Lynn. Does anyone not like BLTs?
I'm not a huge fan of tomatoes, but I can do them on some sandwiches.
Yeah.
I agree. I hate tomatoes too.
I also agree.
Wow.
I'm
don't
not
like
a big fan of
the-
tomatoes.
I love tomatoes.
Toria?
I think only the cheese and the tomatoes, and then dip it in a tomato soup with grilled cheese.
Okay, grilled cheese with tomatoes is good though.
Grilled cheese.
But grilled tomatoes.
Never
Grilled
go for
tomatoes on
it.
after? Because I can't imagine grilled tomatoes being especially good. But
Well, think about like sauteed tomatoes, just like soft.
any
Little
You
flavor.
guys, have you ever had apples on a grilled cheese? It's pretty good.
Yes.
I'm gonna vomit. I'm going to vomit again.
I think this is a good time to.
I'll have interesting sandwich choices.
So, how did you guys feel about the learning objectives? Let's just go over that really quickly. And I feel like everyone can probably confidently say, we need to refine how that went because our learning objectives were not met.
I was also gonna say while you're finding that,
Okay,
I think it's really hard over Zoom because I couldn't tell who was gonna go next because I couldn't like if you're in a group, you can like look around and kind of like there's obvious signs that somebody wants to speak, but because we're on Zoom, it's very hard.
Right.
And so like Miller would say something and Lane would say, "Oh yeah, I agree," but then it would cut out Miller and then I'd miss a whole chunk of like what Miller said. So not that round robin can't work over Zoom, but like we just definitely need more rules because that was a little bit chaotic.
Yeah. Okay. So here are our learning objectives. Implement civil conversation skills with other individuals. So I think we failed that because we were constantly interrupting each other, and that kind of goes back to what Julian just said about like creating rules for this round robin thing. And then build confidence to speak your own thoughts. I mean, I'm pretty sure like most of us spoke, and I mean, granted, this was like a very easy topic to talk about, so I don't think there's a reason why someone would like fear talking. Hearing other views and perspectives. So that was definitely like, so we got like 2 out of the 3, but I think the most important one of those 3 is like implementing civil conversation skills. Yeah, so how do you guys think that we can cut down on the interruptions?
Well, it does require someone to not necessarily be a civil, right? I thought that was kind of the role that somebody needed to play to stir the pot a little bit.
Yeah.
Is the low heat supposed to be everyone is just having a civil conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay.
on the like notes, the learning objective for the low heat is implement civil conversation skills, which was like active listening, one person speaks at a time, reflect on what your peer said before you speak, and then have an open mind. And honestly, I mean, maybe it's because it was about sandwiches. I'm sorry, there's a lot of background noise. There's a teacher in here that's really loud when he talks. Um, like with sandwiches, I feel like when everyone like shared their opinion, people were good about like reflecting on what they said, be like, oh, I don't like that, but then like sharing their own thoughts. So it's easy when it's about food, you understand that like to something like some foods don't taste good to other people. That's easy to understand that people disagree about that. So it's easy to accept someone's like different opinion. But that's my take.
I also think like I'm kind of glad it went a little chaotically because if we had tried to make it go as smooth as possible, like that's not realistic because the people who are doing our scenario aren't gonna like try to make it go as smoothly as possible. But I would kind of disagree with Edie. I think like when Lane kept being like, "Oh, that's gonna make me vomit" or whatever, like you could say like he didn't have an open mind. And I'm not coming for you, Lane. Like I think like how you played it was perfectly, but like I think like that may deter some people. So I don't know, just like I don't know. I don't know how to like make that stop, but I think like I don't know, that'd just be a concern I have.
Isn't that the point? Like we're supposed to challenge them to implement civil conversation even when they don't want to, because we're just creating an environment where everyone feels comfortable talking.
I was
feel like-
gonna say like it's okay that we interrupted each other and like maybe there was some like harsh disagreement because then when they do finish the first level they can talk about like, okay, we were kind of bad about talking over each other. Like the SP can help direct that, like, okay, what do you guys think about us meeting the learning objectives? And then when they move on, that's something they can work on. Like, okay, I'm not gonna interrupt someone next time. So it's like it's okay that there's flaws because if there weren't, then you wouldn't be learning anything.
So I just had a thought. I like incorporating like flaws, like making it possible for interruption to take place, just so it's easy to point out like, hey, these are some things that you can improve on. But also like since a lot of times people were talking, it was just like a 1 sentence or 2 sentences. There's really not like much time to like experience a simulation and like actually learn maybe. And also I feel like the role of the SP was kind of lost too, because at that point Edie just became like a participant rather than like the other person in the conversation. Like this is supposed to be 2 people. So go ahead, Julian.
I was gonna say this might just be my opinion, but I don't think it was bad that Edie kind of became a participant because I think in the low heat, a good job of the SP could be that they like participate in the conversation and then they like give you feedback. So when they lead the debrief for the low heat scenario, they could say, okay guys, like some things that I noticed were like you were all talking over each other and some of you said some things that were a little harsh. How do we feel? Do we feel like we met the open mind learning objective? Do we feel like we were respectful of each other's time and words that they were saying? So I don't think it was necessarily bad that Edie wasn't an SP. I think it just meant she played a different role than we had initially anticipated. But feel free to disagree with me. That's totally fine.
I like that take. Yeah. Maybe the scenario is something that needs to change instead. Because I like the way this played out too. Or we've got plenty of time today. We could try making it fit more like the scenario that we planned and see how we feel about it too. Well, let's finish the discussion on this one first. Oh, Edie is working hard typing all the notes, I bet. But it's okay, we have it recorded. So like if you miss anything, we can just look back on the recording. So one thing, should we establish some like ground rules? So like we did have like that hand raise thing before you talk, but that kind of like stopped happening after we got comfortable with it. So do we like strictly enforce that? I don't know. What's your thoughts?
I feel like
Maybe we could have like a certain order.
Sorry. You can go.
You can go first.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay. Go for it, Lane. Go for it.
Okay, I'm going. Okay, so maybe we'd have like a set order, like of people who talk. Like it's Edie talks first, then Miller can say something, then I can say something, then Derek can say something, and we like once they're done saying something in transition, then we just continue. I think that would be like the easiest way, but it's besides like raising hands because like people can forget that an order is more easy to remember.
And my thing with that, it's like people are gonna lose their like train of thought, or like at least I do. Like as I'm like waiting for someone to finish, like I like kind of forget like what I'm like wanted to bring up. So I don't know. I don't know how do we can do this like organized and not talk over each other, because obviously that, but I just feel like people aren't going to like patiently wait there and just be like, I'm waiting for my turn, like let me talk.
I agree with Nina. I also think that waiting your turn is a little challenging because let's say like Derek had said, oh, I really like BLTs. And I wanted to jump in and say, oh, I really like BLTs too, because I feel like for some reason I like BLTs. I don't know. Like, but then if we wait and it goes Derek and then Miller and then Karen and then Toria and then me, now I have to go all the way back to Derek's point to like say what I was thinking.
Exactly.
So we won't, it wouldn't be like a smooth flow of conversation. It would be a lot of back and forth. Oh, like back to Edie's point and back to Julian's point and back to Lane's point. Now
So
just be a little.
It should be like natural, but also like not talk over each other.
Also, like if we're preparing them for real civil conversations, never is there like if you're ever in a group talking about politics, nobody's gonna be like, okay, it's gonna go Derek, then Julian, then Edie, and we all want to hear respectful opinions. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
everybody's gonna talk at once. Derek's gonna say, I like this. I'm gonna say, I disagree. Like, you know what I mean?
Is the SP supposed to call on people that haven't put forward any?
That's what I was gonna ask. Like,
I think so.
as the SP, should I be like, should I really blend in with the group, or should the SP be like, okay, now they can speak? So then again, it's not in order, but it's not so random that we talk over each other.
Well, you don't have to do like the SP doesn't have to formally invite someone. I think maybe just try to like ask for their opinion. I don't know, within the conversation, I guess. But yeah, I think you do need to call in the person. You can't let someone just sit there.
I think you should just like there's no order to it, but people should wait until the person has finished talking.
We should
I
just
think
like
that
have a
if
discussion.
it's-
That is, as hard as that is, like maybe we should try it like that. Like everyone like tried their absolute best to not talk over each other.
If there's like a person who isn't talking at all, though, I think that calls for the SP to call them out and have them say something.
Yeah, I agree.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, like, hey, do you have anything to contribute? Honestly, just this discussion could be like any of our regular old SPS discussions.
Okay, also
SP mod.
question. Do we go over learning objectives before?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if we tell them what the learning objectives are before, they'll go in knowing what they have to hit so that they don't like interrupt each other. But also, like, on the same side of that, there's like, if we do tell them, then when we debrief, there's not gonna be like any surprises. And I don't mean like surprise, like, you know what I mean? Like, if we say, like, oh, here's what happened. I don't know where my train of thought is going, but like, there won't be anything necessarily to really discuss afterwards. I feel like if we tell them the learning objectives before, because they'll already know what they are. I don't know if that made any sense, but feel free to let me know.
Yeah, could you, so are you just saying like we should say the learning objectives before or after?
I was just saying, like, I think either way works, but there's pros and cons to either. If you say it before, then they kind of have like a cheat sheet, like they already know what they're supposed to be hitting before they go into the thing. But then afterwards, they'll like, what would you really discuss in the debrief? Rather, because like they already know the learning objectives and stuff like that. But if you do it afterwards, like then they've just played it out naturally how they think it should go, and then afterwards they're like, oh yeah, it's like a little bit more of a reflection. They're like, oh yeah, I really did talk over so and so, or I really didn't have an open mind. So it's a little bit more reflection based, and I guess it's just like whichever one we feel more comfortable with.
Yeah, I like learning objectives after, and I think that that's okay for this low heat because it is low heat. Like, I don't think anything like super bad is gonna come of not giving them learning objectives because they're just talking about sandwiches. And at the end, they can still take back like, okay, let's not talk over each other like we did. Let's keep an open mind, and then take those, reflect, and use it for the next.
Could we interrupt in the middle? Like maybe the first half is just totally unguided, and then if we feel that would help them like have a more productive conversation, we could tell them what the learning objectives are and see how that changes it.
Actually, I really like that idea, Miller, because it kind of incorporates both. They get to just free for all kind of at first, and then they get to like realize what they're supposed to be doing. I don't know, I actually really do like that.
I'll write both down, and maybe we can ask Kristen when we talk to her next.
Okay, so does that kind of conclude our discussion about the scenario that we just tested? Anyone have any more comments they want to say? Or just like thoughts they had about it? Okay, seems like everybody's good. So what came of that discussion is that we found that we have like two potential scenarios that we could be testing. So like one where like the SP plays a bigger role. They can like call people out, and one where they like kind of blend in as a participant. Yeah, I think what Tori said about like having the SP like call on a person if they don't talk is good, and that should be implemented like regardless of the scenario. So that way everybody's participating. So now do you guys want to like Or do you guys just feel that we don't even need to test the one where the SP is more like in a more authoritative position of like being the other person in the conversation? Should we test that or not? What are your thoughts?
I personally think we should test it because, like, it'll always go a way you don't expect it to. Like, we expected the sandwich one to go a completely different way than it did, and now we have all these other great ideas coming from it. And so I would like to say that the SP guided one will turn out exactly as I think it will, but that would be naive of me to say that because we know that things happen every time. So I don't know. I think we test it out just to like work out all the kinks and make sure it goes how we're thinking it's gonna go.
Okay, so what we're gonna do, I just put at the top, I put SP in relaxed role for that one.
You're on mute.
Did you hear any of that?
You said I'm putting at the top the SPs in the relaxed role, and then you muted yourself.
Okay, sorry. So for the second one, SP will be in a more authoritative role, but let's do like favorite desserts. So still food related, but not, so we're not talking about the same thing, because then I feel like it'll be a little bit rehearsed.
I like that. So I guess some ground rules then, since it's going to be like Edie is the other participant or like the other speaker in the conversation of two people, then like, is she going to be calling on people? Are we going to be raising hands? Or is it still going to be a free for all? But then Edie, because okay, the thing is, if it's a free for all, then I'm not sure Edie will be able to like squeeze in like her half of the conversation because it's like, or like at least be like a majority of it, like a significant portion.
Yeah, I guess maybe the SP in an authoritative role kind of takes away from like the realness of the conversation. So, maybe the SP being in a relaxed role does cause more, talking over each other, but maybe that's the point, and maybe that's okay. The SP is just playing their role of continuing the conversation. And maybe even when the SP is in a relaxed role, they are very adamant about following civil conversation skills. So maybe as to set an example without really like saying that they're setting an example. Do you want to try? We can still try the authoritative role one.
Yeah, let's just like, I don't know, 5 minutes. That's like barely any time. Let's just try the authoritative and I don't know, Edie, you just figure out a way however you see fit, like calling on people, making them raise their hands or something, or letting them interrupt. And then, oh, I guess the participants, we could just like let the participants know that like Edie is the other person of the conversation. Oh, what if, right? Because like the way it becomes a free for all is like I'm talking with Edie, and then Nina wants to chime in, but she responds to what I said, and then all of a sudden the conversation is between me and Nina. So what if you can only respond to Edie? And so like part of the round robin is like I say what I've got to say, but then when the next person comes in, they can't talk about or they can't like comment on what I said. Does that make sense? Or is that too restrictive?
It makes sense, but then it doesn't. Then it's not a group discussion.
Yeah, because it doesn't flow well after
like the point.
No, keep going. You're good.
The point of a group discussion is that everyone's kind of talking to each other. But if
right,
it's worth revising. But yeah.
I just forgot that we were trying to make this a group discussion. I was like,
Okay, well, we can try round robin, authoritative, SP. I guess just like I'll facilitate as I see fit.
Okay.
So, my go-to dessert, but usually my favorite is ice cream. But my favorite ice cream is vanilla ice cream, like straight up vanilla ice cream. Lane.
I agree. Vanilla ice cream, it sounds like so basic, but it's just so delicious. Like I don't care what anyone thinks of me. They might be like, "Oh, Lane, you're so plain." So good. Like it's just so sweet and it has everything that you want.
Okay, but like, so you just don't like toppings? Like, if you had ice cream that had toppings on it, or like plain ice cream, you just choose vanilla, or like, would you go for the one with toppings?
Honestly, I probably depends on what the toppings are. Cause like if you go chocolate sauce, yeah, I'll give me some of that. If you go like fruit or nuts, I'm passing. I'm staying with yeah. So it depends on the topping.
Personally, a popular topping that I take issue with is any gummies. Like I like gummy worms, but it just doesn't seem to fit very well with ice cream because then you just have to take it out and chew it separately. So I just don't like it.
Gummies, I feel, are good with frozen yogurt as opposed to ice cream. I could eat gummies with frozen yogurt, but not with ice cream.
But the same issue is still there where you're just chewing it separately. I just don't think that you can eat it with the ice cream.
I think that the gummies don't make the ice cream better, but the ice cream makes the gummies better because then they have like that layer of like ice cream or frozen yogurt around them.
Yeah, that's a good, interesting point. Not sure if I agree yet, but
What is the difference between frozen yogurt and ice cream?
I feel like ice cream is a little bit more, I don't know, creamier, I think. And then frozen yogurt is actually, I don't really know. That's a good question.
That's like philosophy right there. Are they the same thing?
Yeah,
No,
but
they're not.
also
Definitely different.
okay, but also frozen custard.
frozen custard is definitely ice cream. I think it's closer to ice cream than frozen yogurt. I think.
Okay, but what's everyone else's favorite dessert?
My favorite dessert is cheesecake.
I was gonna say that. Oh, good strawberry cheesecake really does the trick.
I beg to differ. I personally do not like cheesecake.
Cheesecake can just like it can take forms of so many other desserts. Like there's like so many flavors. So if you like caramel desserts, and you can get like a caramel cheesecake, and it like still has like nice cheesecake taste to it.
You know, totally off topic. Some people say caramel and some people say caramel. I'm not triggered by either. But like I feel like the people who say caramel are triggered by the word caramel.
I say caramel.
Caramel.
I say caramel, but I definitely think caramel is more proper, which is a little less common.
I would say caramel, but I don't know if that's wrong. It's just what I've always said.
Julian, are you triggered when people say caramel? Oh, go ahead, Karen.
I was gonna say I say caramel, but then like sometimes I find myself saying caramel, but like that just sounds kind of more extra. I don't know.
I'm not necessarily triggered by either, but caramel just sounds caramel, just sounds like you're trying to be fancy. Caramel to me just sounds more casual, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong.
I Google that actually. It's pronounced caramel.
Wow, okay. I disagree with all of you because I feel like caramel is fancier. More syllables, more fancy, right?
Yes, I agree with that statement.
I just Googled it. It's caramel, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that makes
y'all
sense. I always thought that caramel sounded more proper.
To me, just saying caramel sounds like a British accent for some reason. I know that's wrong. It just sounds like you're British, like caramel. And British people are 100% more fancy than us because they have kings and queens. So therefore, I associate caramel or caramel with with fancy.
I would think like caramel sounds way more proper. I just had to say that.
That's a good note to end on. So that was 5 minutes. It was less free for all.
I just want to also like maybe I was a little bit more like, okay, like yeah, like you can talk now. But it's also our second time doing this, so I feel like everyone paused and waited before they spoke, and that might come from just the fact that it's us doing it a second time.
Maybe. Oh,
But that doesn't take away from like the authoritative role setting, because I think that like in the case that we were doing this with an entire different group, the SP could be as subtle as like just like
maybe like. Okay. So in our actual scenario, we can, since this one was actually kind of short, like Derek said, it was only 5 minutes. We could maybe do 2 runs of it. The first run, we like just go. We give them a topic, like an easy topic, and we just let them go. The second run, we come by, we give them a different topic, and we're like, all right, this time, try not to interrupt each other. See how that goes. See how that works out, and like compare them.
I really like that idea. I think we could tailor it so like the first meeting is just a free for all, kind of like our last one with the sandwiches, and then in the middle, we had a discussion and we were like, okay, our main issue was that we were talking over each other, and if some other group's main issue is that they're not open minded, but they were fine with not talking over each other, like it could be specific to each group, and then we could run it again. I really like that idea.
Hey, Edie, Graham and Max need to go to their rooms. Do you guys have like an option to click it? Okay. Should give you guys a okay, they're gone. Sorry, Julian, could you repeat what you said?
Of course. I was just saying, like, I think that if we do a 5 minute free for all and then a break where we discuss, it would go a lot like how ours just went, because we did a 5 minute break and then we were like, okay, guys, we need to stop talking over each other. And then the second one went much better. And like, if another group tries it and they are like super close minded and they don't want to hear about anybody else's sandwich ideas, then in the middle, they could be like, okay, guys, maybe we should be more open minded in the second one. And then the second one, it would go better because yeah, like I just think like that's a really good idea. And I also think in the middle you could talk about the learning objectives. So the first one is a free for all, no learning objectives. You just set them free and see what happens. And then in the middle you say, okay, our learning objectives were to yada yada yada. And then they'll be like, okay, I don't think we met this one. And then they can work on it in the next one. And that could be a way to like incorporate what Miller was saying about the learning objectives.
yeah, I think it goes to play with like instead of doing like start them, pause them, address learning objectives, continue, we just do 2 rounds, 2 short rounds. So you do first round free for all, address, and then try again. I really like that idea a lot. Anyone else?
This is off topic, but I have to get to math class, so I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Thanks for
Bye,
coming to
Toria.
Actually, I disagree. Just kidding.
No, she doesn't have to go to math class. Okay. So I feel like we naturally, just like the natural progression is to like make it into a more natural conversation. Well, I said natural, take a shot every time I said that. And it would take like a lot of effort, or what I'm saying is the scenario that we kind of outlined, the low-key, actually, you know, I think I'm just the one who's like thinking of this in a totally, I'm just not on the same page as you guys, because I just realized that the scenario is titled group discussion, and for some reason in my head, I had it like as a one-on-one, and then like, anyways, so I'm tripping. But basically, since we all naturally gravitate towards like a regular conversation, I feel like the like participant version of the SP with like what Edie did is like pointing at people and like saying, okay, you can talk, and like guiding the discussion is the best. You guys, what are your thoughts?
do you still think it's worth doing the relaxed role? Even if like maybe the conversation doesn't go as well, I think it's still the relaxed role is so good so that they can be like, oh, okay, we didn't do that. That now I understand why that conversation was difficult.
I think we could do the relaxed role for the first one and the more authoritative one for the second one. But I also feel that you won't really need the authoritative one for the second one because we'll have just discussed all of the learning objectives and such, so they should be on the right path. But the authoritative SP is there just to like back it up just in case and be like, oh, hey, remember, we're not going to talk over each other, or hey, we're going to have an open mind about this. Remember, that's one of our learning objectives.
Right, because like at the beginning of the authoritative role, I kind of started pointing, but then once y'all caught on and like paused before each person, I could step back. So I think that it's okay that the SP is in the authoritative role for the second one, just to help them get started, and then they can take a step back, and everyone else, the learners, can take over.
I agree with all of that.
Also, can we just like take a moment to like give ourselves a pat on the back, because like testing these out, we've had notes and revised them and come up with better things, and it makes me really excited, and I'm really proud of us. So good job.
I'm really proud of our progress today. Like, it makes me so excited. Go team.
Yes, let's go team.
I think like our biggest one is just the medium heat, which we need to like revise and test. But I think I put that on the timeline for either next monthly meeting or a SPS, which maybe this next SPS we can revise like which one we're gonna do, and then at the monthly meeting we can test it, because I think that's the one that's the most vague.
Sorry, no, I was just gonna say, can you remind me what the setting is for the medium heat one?
So I think we have a couple to choose from, but the basics of it is about diffusing the tension. So like the third one, remember, gets really heated, and then the whole point is to be able to walk away. But the second one is about like the SP getting heated and like you having to like try to diffuse it a little bit. So, and then underneath also is respectful and then active listening.
But is
So
it like a, oh, sorry. Is it like
yeah, but
one-on-one or group?
that's what we haven't decided yet. If it's going to be theater, one-on-one, or round robin.
For the meeting?
And yeah.
This is on topic, but kind of off topic. Have we worked on our timeline today? Like, are we, because I know that's something we're going to present to the big group. Is that something we have? I'm sorry, I just haven't been checking the mirror board. I've been on this conversation.
Yep, that's okay. Yes, I've put a few sticky notes down. So, and we've completed some of those things too.
Back. How do you guys feel about working on the timeline for the next 15 minutes or so until we all come back together?
That sounds good. Y'all can look at the sticky notes I have down. I'm going to email Kristen our dates for this semester, so that's what I'm going to be doing.
Okay. Okay, so we recorded an MVP. I'll write low heat. I don't think there needs to be a dash. So, okay, test medium level scenario. Okay, and record. Test. Yeah, sorry I'm not sharing my screen enough, so I don't think you guys can really tell what I'm doing. Is everyone on the timeline? It's frame 4, by the way.
I'm not, just because I don't think this Wi-Fi can handle that. And
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it'll also ruin my microphone. So.
Should I try screen sharing? I'm gonna try that. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see this. So Edie's doing this right now. I guess I'll put it under here. This is all today. And then I guess this Sunday we could probably revise our medium level scenario this Sunday, which is the 10th, I think. We could also send an email if Edie is not already doing that. We could send a separate email on Sunday to ask what topics would be good. And this is our next monthly meeting, so that's when we test and record our medium level scenario. Maybe we should have a sticky note to like send an email to Kristen. Wait, what? Oh. Ask for feedback. Anyone else have things that we should put on our timeline? Okay, let me go to the low heat. And just Julie made a comment about, where is low heat? Julie made a comment about the topics in that order were good, so I'll just make a sticky note.
Do we want to also record the high heat
Yeah, definitely.
and work on refining that as well?
Yeah. So if we record the medium heat at not this upcoming SPS, but the next one, we can either record the medium heat then and then record the high heat at the next monthly meeting, or record the high heat at that SPS and then record the medium heat later.
We just do medium and high level because we're already familiar with that one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and if we can only do one, let's do medium since we already did high.
Okay. Okay, so then we want to have talked with an SP by February 5th. And we'll get feedback. I guess we don't really know when Kristen will respond though. Go ahead.
Derek, do you remember was it Melody?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think her last name started with a C, but okay. So after we've tested and recorded all of our scenarios, what's the next step, guys?
Test again with the new features, see what we see, revise more, keep testing.
Yeah. Just keep going, and then also get based on the feedback from Kristen. I think we should also try if we can, like, in person as well.
Okay.
Yeah. I was also going to suggest maybe we about how they're connected. Like, how do we connect them? Like, how do we move from that to medium to high and finish it out?
Okay.
Like, I totally think we do it like without moving. or except for high heat. Some people might have to move.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, I think the rest of our schedule really is just going to be test, record, like test, record, review, test, record, review. But we should have a goal. We should set a goal for when we want something to be done by. So do we want to like test all the low heat and like refine it till it's done and then move on to medium and then move on to high, or do we want to like try and finish them all or like test them all at the same time?
Individually, we'll be able to focus more on it instead of just trailing off on different ones.
I agree. I think like today when we really focused on the low heat, we got a lot done. I mean, I really feel good about the low heat now. So if like next monthly meeting or next SPS, we really focus on medium heat or high heat or whatever, we can really finish those things instead of trying to focus on all three at once.
Okay, I like that. Okay, so then I guess we should probably like send recordings of all of them to Kristen. So before then, we'll have to test and record the medium and high. But then after we get Kristen's feedback on all of them, we'll pick one of them, like low, medium, or high, and focus on that. So I'll make a sticky note here. I guess this stuff would happen at like the next SPS after our next monthly meeting. So that would be January 24th. Then we'll have February. So we'll have, I think this is our monthly meeting. Let me just check my calendar real quick. Yeah, that's a monthly meeting day. So then on this, or maybe by the, what do you guys think is a good goal to have, to like completely have a scenario, like a heat level, like done? What do you think is reasonable?
I think we should have all three by spring break.
When
If
is
that's
spring?
reasonable.
Is that March?
March, yeah, like the 3rd week of March.
I honestly think we should maybe have it done a little bit sooner, because I was actually looking at our monthly meeting dates for the spring semester today, because my school decided to count me absent, and so we only have like one meeting in March, so, and then we only have our 2 April meetings, so it would just kind of be a little chaotic to like have it done in the middle of March and then have like 2 meetings after that.
Okay.
So I think maybe if we aim for like end of February, like we have a meeting on February 26th, is if that's a doable date for us, I think that might be better, because then we have the whole month of March to like really work with Kristen on like getting it implemented. So if that'll work for y'all, that works for me.
To finalize all scenarios.
Julian, did you turn in the new letter to principal?
Yes, but they just forgot about it, so then I had to call. Like,
I was recorded absent too, but I turned it in this morning, so.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you can just go talk to them and say, hey, remember that letter? And then they'll be like, oh yeah, my B.
Okay, so I revised some things on the Kanban board. So like one of them was like test, or one was like fix or like make low heat one, but I changed it, or I put test low heat scenario and then I put it in the done. Under our in progress,
You're muted, by the way.
Sorry, I clicked away from the thing, so I freaked out. Under in progress is watch the MVP video for the video committee. And then underneath that we have test scenarios and make MVP, which is kind of like general, but like I put in the backlog, record high heat, revise medium heat, and then test and record medium heat. So we can move those over as needed, just to like have those there. But yeah.
We have a meeting on the 26th. Oh, maybe there's some holiday or something here. Okay.
Yeah, we have a meeting on the 26th of February.
Let's try. Or I'll just copy this one actually. And just change the dates. Or maybe we finalize the last one on that day. I don't know. This is just tentative, so we can change it later. Cool. I'll turn my camera back on now.
This is awesome progress. Everything we've gotten done today, setting these concrete dates that I know will get done, I feel really good. We have like 2 more minutes until everyone comes back, so.
You can just chill.
Hi, Emily.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Emily, we made such good progress today.
Oh, yay! I'm so glad to hear that.
We just talked about how happy we were with our progress. Actually, we just got done talking about that.
Good. You know what? Maybe really like this long committee time is really what the groups kind of needed to get going. So, and actually Adam and I were just talking about some other things that I feel energized about. So I'm feeling energetic too, like things for your cohort. So yay, good, I'm glad. In other news, if any of your parents are frontline workers and have not yet gotten like an appointment for their vaccine, I literally just signed my dad up and I think there are some slots for next week. If anybody wants me to text them the link right now, I will.
Will you actually do that for my mom? Because my dad is a firefighter and he just got his. But my mom is a psychologist and so she works with all these patients all the time. I don't know if that counts as a frontline worker, but she's with all these patients all the time. And so she was wondering if she could get one, but she works for herself, so she didn't know how to get one.
Yeah, okay, I'm just texting you the link. And my friend that sent it to me, you have to like answer some questions about what your role is. But honestly, I think you could, even just having just done that for him, I think you could say, like if she's working in sort of an outpatient setting.
Right, then
with
patients,
then yeah, anyway, sorry, just, I was really excited about that, so.
Yeah, I know a psychologist, she works for herself. And I think that like they said she just has to like talk to her doctor about, because they are technically frontline workers if they're working like in hospitals with a bunch of different patients. So yeah.
Yeah.
Should I close the room? Or I gave them a warning. I said 1 minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and close it.
I bet they're ready.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh, people are still coming back. Welcome back, everyone. Saw some base camp activity. That's pretty cool. So I think we'll have a lot to share today.
You're chopping out just a little bit, but we'll have like 2 or 3 people from each committee share what they did today and progress on the timeline and future working. So everyone, like each person can just share a little bit.
Yeah, get pumped up. Brag about the progress you made today.
Yeah,
I
I
can
just
share
hopped onto the simulation group and Julian was like, energy was up. She was like, we made progress. That was my Julian impression.
It was a really good one. Yeah, I'll start. So for the simulation group today, we wanted to test out our low heat scenario. And we had like a complete idea of where it was going and it went in a completely different direction, but we actually gained a lot of traction from that. So we tested it out and realized that what we had thought was going to work was not really applicable. So we came up with like a 2-pronged plan for our low heat scenario, in which the first section we like introduce them to this idea and then we let them just see how it goes, and then it's a short little simulation, maybe 5 minutes max, and then in the middle we debrief and we talk about the learning objectives. Okay, so here's what you were supposed to be getting at. Did you have an open mind? Did you let other people talk? Did you talk over each other? Things like that. And then our second scenario, because we ran it again, went so much better because we had just talked about all of those things that we were going for. And so that kind of like sparked the idea of having a 2-pronged plan, which also led us into creating the timeline about like what we think is accomplishable. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm going to use it anyways. In a certain amount of time. So we set up, so since our low heat is done and we've tested our high heat once, but we want to retest it, we're going to work on medium and high heat next at different monthly meetings and SPSs. And then we hope to get all of those accomplished and reviewed by Kristen by February 26th.
Also, I emailed Kristen semester 2 meeting dates. I CC'd Adam and Emily, but just so we can figure out what dates that she can be here with us and maybe meet and talk to an SP, or if Melody can join. But yeah.
Cool.
All right, well said. Anyone from the video? Sorry, Emily.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm looking at the timeline on Miro, and you guys plugged in a lot of things, which is exciting. Like, and put some deadlines to them, so that looks awesome. That always feels good to me. Cool. Okay, Derek, go ahead.
My connection is choppy right now, so I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Super choppy.
But well said. So now, someone from the video committee, would you like to share? Super choppy. Oh, TLDR. Would someone from the video committee like to share now?
Again. So we talked about the meeting with Wes that some of us went to. We like updated everyone on that. We had Daniel reach out to Wes again and see if he could get on our Sunday meeting this week. And also we decided on like the number of videos and kind of how we want them to look. So we're gonna like get a quote on the videos, like how much it'll be. What else do? We assign different people to write and like finalize questions for the interviewees we have so far. And for the people that we haven't gotten responses from, we're making sure that everyone has sent their like their follow-up email. Trying to think. If I missed something, someone else say it.
I also went to Miro and just typed out like a not final, but a template of exactly what happened in the video, like all the camera stuff and all of that, so that we have that to show to Wes. It's the giant blue weird color palette thing kind of in Miro, but yeah, just type that out.
We also, some of the people that were meeting with Wes said that he suggested doing more of like a storyline, like a narrative type of setup to the videos instead of just kind of like a back and forth interview. He said it would be more engaging and stuff that way. So we're kind of working on altering some of our questions and like the setup for the videos that we're going to have in the future to kind of fit that setup instead. So yeah, we're changing some things with that.
And I don't know if Daisy said this, but I think we're going to try to get Wes to join us for like 20 to 30 minutes on Sunday, if that's okay with everyone.
Yeah, that would be great.
And I also saw that Daisy had some activity on Basecamp with goals/details. Internet connection's unstable, isn't it? But yeah, so it talked about like your plan for how many videos you're going to make and how long they'll be. So that's cool too.
Yeah, so how does everyone feel today? I feel like we've made some really good progress, especially like first day back from break. But how do you guys feel? Yeah, I can say I'm really proud of everyone, like really proud.
How are we doing on the agenda? Are we up to date? Are we up to speed? Are we 20 minutes ahead of schedule?
Not completely. Plus Delta's at 11:45, so we can start that if y'all want to.
Yeah, let's do it.
While we're going through that too, I just had a question in my mind. I was wondering, what do you feel like you're learning through this? Is this a good learning? Or let me ask this, what are you learning as we go through it? So can we do that even before we do plus deltas? Yeah, just, type out in the channel, or yeah, just do that. I mean, don't even worry about talking, or unless you want to, unless you can't type in the channel. Just what are you learning through this experience so far? Just it could be something small, tangible, whatever, or it could be nothing. Maybe you're like, I ain't learning nothing. But you got to say nothing if you're going to say that. You got to be like, I ain't learned nothing.
There's a lot of good stuff over here. For those of you who aren't reading the chat, I'll just pick out a Lane said, I verified that no plan survives its first contact with reality. That's a good one. So like, sometimes plans don't go the way that you intend, but something positive still comes of it.
I
Daisy
really
said a
like.
good one too. I've been learning that even when energy is low.
Go ahead, finish.
Yeah, I finished. Okay.
I really like Parrish's the learning how to break down large goals into smaller steps. with a direct path to get there. I think that goes for anything. Like when you think of the big idea or the big picture, can be really overwhelming, but by breaking it down, like you can feel accomplished by each step you take.
Adam learned a new word. Would you like to tell us what it means?
The word is liaise, is short for liaison. It means cool things, I think. I don't know. Remove that from the recording, by the way.
Nope. Okay, we can move into plus and deltas. You can either type in the chat or say it out loud.
I think Karen needs to turn her camera back on so we can see her buddies hanging over her shoulder like that. Come on, you can't have people spying on us and not let us spy back. I'm just kidding. All right, hello, what's up? I'm one of the students.
Sorry, there's like nowhere else to sit where there's like no one.
No, welcome, y'all. This is YPI. Say hello,
Hey, this
everybody.
is Shreya.
Oh,
I look so bad.
that's super cool. I'm glad to see y'all there. All right, sorry, back to you, facilitators.
Plus and deltas.
I've got a
plus.
I've got a plus. It just kind of felt good to get back into the swing of things with YPI, and after our big old 3-week break, I'm really excited to see where our project goes.
I really enjoyed the amount of committee time we had today. I thought that was really good, especially just to get back into the swing of things, like Baron was saying. It was a good amount of time, and I think we utilized it well.
I have a mixed plus and delta. The delta was that I was pretty low energy all day, but the plus was that we still had things going on and seemed to have gotten to the next position, even though it seemed like maybe it was just me, but I was pretty low energy for a lot of the day, but things were still happening.
A plus for me was the activity we did at the beginning. I really enjoyed it.
Peyton had a plus in the chat if you didn't see it.
I could just say it out loud. I like the structure of this meeting.
What about it? Is it the long committee time, a little fun up front, a little bonding up front, and then go work and then come back together later, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I liked all the committee time that we had, and that, I don't know, I just liked it. Thought it was good.
Cool. So what I hear you saying is you want to have a lot more of long lectures from me. So we'll do that next time for sure. Count on it.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we were going for, Adam.
I know.
Strongly agree with Peyton. More committee time is definitely better.
Cool. You guys, my favorite point was that even though energy was low, we were able to get a lot done. So, and I think I think energy would be low no matter what. I mean, look out your window. Is this not the most depressing day? Like, surely it's going to start raining any minute, right? I don't know if it is, but it just looks like one of those days. So, like, when you feel that later, remind yourself that you made progress today, and it was good. I was feeling like what a plus for me is I was talking to Adam on the other, like, about some logistical things, higher level stuff, and I feel he identified it as contrast. He said, what you're experiencing is contrast, and that informs what you need to do. And from that conversation, we came up with a strategy, basically. And now I feel energized, where I started the conversation feeling like discouraged, and now I feel energized to have a plan. So let that discouragement or that contrast inform, you know, what you need to do, what steps you can take to increase your engagement. So anyway, no rain on the forecast. Whoop whoop. Okay. Do we need to do deltas too? Or did we kind of?
Yeah, I mean, if there are any more, go ahead and share.
I do. I have one delta. It's not a bad thing. It's like delta means change. I really wish that there would have been conversation about the events of this week in relation to your project. Because I've been thinking about your project ever since that happened. I'm like, anyway,
Yeah.
so I don't know. We don't have to do that now because I mean, if we're, we're wrapping up, but I mean, any initial thoughts on that, if any?
I feel like what happened was like the extreme of like not being able to civilly discuss or handle things. I mean, like a super extreme, but it's just like the controversial result.
I think like having a conversation about it could have been like cool because of our topic with us just like all being engaged. But in relation to actually like having an effect on our project directly, I think that's kind of the same reason why we didn't do a topic on the pandemic, because we're looking for longevity and not an event that's currently going on that's going to go away. So I think if the point was to like potentially have something in our project related to it, I don't agree with that. But I think just because of the nature of our project, if we were going to have a discussion about it, I think that's still valuable. But I don't think there should be any kind of direct implementation into our project because of it.
Yeah, I remember when we were first picking this topic, Adam had to like, and this is back we were at OU Tulsa. Adam had to like give a pep talk about like why our topic was important. And like back then there were like a couple of things in the news about like obviously like uncivilized things. But I think like ever since then our topic has only gotten like a lot more important.
Yeah, good, very good. You guys, of all the cohorts, you've picked the most on point topic of all. I will give you that for sure. This couldn't be more on point. All right, good. Thanks for the thoughts on that. All right.
A delta that I had would be that I really did enjoy our activity at the beginning, but especially because we haven't seen each other in 3 weeks. I know like YPI is about like our work and what we're doing, but it is also like we are a group. And so it would have been nice if the activity had been a little bit maybe more tailored to like, how was your break? How are you feeling? And things like that, more like a vulnerability circle. I would have really appreciated today, especially just to get like back and connected with like the people that I'm working with. And then maybe we save that activity for like a future date that could be more like a fun thing to do. But I absolutely loved everything that we did today. So that's not, I don't mean to say that and like that was a bad thing. That would just have been something that I would have really liked to see today.
Thank you for sharing. Anybody else have any plus, deltas, comments, concerns? We love you, Adam. Thank you for the heart.
Okay, then let's move on to the final item of our agenda. All right, then let's move on to the final item on our agenda, which is just conclude with clarity who does what by when. So if you guys were like assigned a task to do today, just go ahead and say it out loud so that way, we can help everyone be accountable as well.
Just because you cut out, Derek, I'm just gonna, for clarity's sake, you're asking people to just say what they're responsible for this week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like Harper did in the chat.
Harper
Shout it out.
said,
Good.
Cool.
awesome. Harper is completing some interview questions. Daisy is working with Eric Cullen, or writing Eric Cullen's questions with Ava. Seems like everyone's finishing interview questions, which is really good. That, just putting it out there to keep each other accountable. So Next meeting is Sunday progress session this Sunday, which is the 10th. So January 10th, SPS 3 to 4. Be there. And keep up the good work. Keep up the engagement. I'm really proud of you guys. And I'll see you soon, and just let us know if you need anything.
See you Sunday.
Bye.
Thanks for coming, everybody.